relationships are collapsing, eclipse energy is landing, and Kali, fierce grace, ego liberation is walking into the room. This week in the astrology, it is a take no prisoners kind of a week, especially aiming at our relationships, our closest bonds, long-term commitments are really kind of getting a bit of a reckoning. Three of the biggest themes that are going on this week is really relationship reckoning. That is number one. Number two that's going on this week is the eclipse fallout. How willing are we to step into the new, to stop creating from old karmic patterns and really start to create from what's possible in the new you, the new potentials, the new human? And then the third thing to share, and this doesn't really happen until the weekend, so stay tuned until the end of the video when we get to like Saturday and Sunday, is there's some real high voltage magic. Sekhmet, Hecate, and Merlin are all aimed at Saturn. These are foundations. So this is when things get really interesting around what is it that we're manifesting? What is it that we're creating in our lives kind of post that eclipse shakeup that happened last week. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, I invite you to join us in Circle. These videos, conversations, guiding tools, I like to think of this as, happen every single Sunday. Also, I send out a newsletter that goes along with this every Sunday. And if you're not subscribed to the ReWilding Weekly, I really put a lot of time into taking you through Monday, Sunday, giving you the big transits and some journal prompts, reflective questions to think about each day of the week. So if that sings to you, one, hit the subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this. And then two, jump into the weekly newsletter by finding that link below and jumping in there. All right. I'm going to take us through Monday through Sunday. But before I do, by the way, this is September 29th to October 5th. Before I do, kind of just want to let us know that this is not a week to sleepwalk through. This is not eclipse is over, the big intense stuff is slowing down. We have Kali in the mix. We have a lot of stuff aimed at Saturn. This is the reality. This is like the rubber hits the road kind of a week. This is a week where our choices matter. Mercury is doing a dance with Jupiter this week. That means bigger thinking, right? Thinking outside of the box. And just the fact that Saturn is really getting hit hard on multiple levels is making this reality. It's making this, you're going to now create. You're going to now make choices that are going to be made manifest in the physical world. There's one question that I want to throw at us for this week, and it's how willing are you to step into the new? How willing are you to think outside the box? This is that Mercury Jupiter transit that's happening. It's actually a square. How willing are you to think outside of the box? How willing are you to, I'm going to say this too, how willing are you to receive an enormous amount of joy in your life, to create from joy? How much goodness is your nervous system trained to handle? And can you incrementally start to open to receiving more goodness, open to creating more joy and more ease and more flow in your life? Because that's on offer. This 2025, 2026, this is the new human. And that's what we're looking at, is this possibility, this potential, and this actually realization, realizing this way of living and this way of creating our lives and this state of beingness for real. This is what's going on. I just got to dance in Australia with 100 some beautiful souls over 2 different live events. And I got to watch this, not only in myself and those who are close to me, but I got to watch this in over 100 beautiful, amazing souls who are living this. They are starting to really open up to what it is that we are capable of in this new earth and this new human. And I feel like we're right on the cusp of this thing. So this is a week that matters. And I want to give us a lot of practices on how we can align with the energetics that are going on in the cosmos to really support us creating these new, alive, aligned, beautiful, fulfilling, joyful lives that just like blow our brains because they're so stinking good. So just that in this episode. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and let's get into this. So Monday, the 29th of September, Kali enters right here, right now, right at the start. She's going to be a loud player all week. Who is Kali? What is that archetypal energy that's going to be alive and active in us? Kali is an ego slayer. If there was one thing Kali, the goddess of fierce liberation, would be known for, it would be ego slayer. And isn't that great? Because part of what our ego is doing is it's clinging to the old. It's clinging to the known. It's clinging to what our ego, little self, false self thinks is safety, security. This is going to be a really good place to journal on, to get really real about, is where am I clinging onto the old still? We are still in this eclipse window all the way to the next new moon, which is October 21st. These are intense karmic, dharmic times. We aren't done. And Kali is saying, hey, I'm here to help you release more of the old karma. I'm here to keep cutting away the cords, to keep cutting away your false belief systems, your little self, your egoical tendencies, the unconscious habits that are keeping you playing small. So she is square Uranus. And Uranus is conjunct Sedna. That's a long-term transit that's going on. So Kali, Uranus is the great awakener, right? Uranus is a Kundalini awakener. He will awaken whatever goddess energy, feminine energy, sacred energy that is lining up with Uranus. So the fact that he's conjunct Sedna, this is making this, he's the great awakener of a complete and total transformation. A complete and total transformation. You go from one form to another. That's what Uranus is saying. That's a longer term transit. That's part of this new human transit that's going on 2025 and 2026. By the way, if you haven't seen the 2 new human videos that are out, go watch those next. Especially the first one. For whatever reason, signs and symptoms that you're in the first wave. That video like really landed. A lot of people got a lot out of it. So maybe start there. I love the second one. I don't know why, but that one's a little bit deeper and a little more intense. So if that one sinks to you, dive into that too. Okay, so the Sedna Uranus is part of one of those longer term transits that's really supporting this first wave of human consciousness expansion. Now, the fact that Kali's getting up in the mix, love this because it's take no prisoners. So when I said earlier, this is a take no prisoners kind of a week. It's fierce grace. It's she's really wanting to liberate you from your old self, from false self, from egoical tendencies. And one of those egoical tendencies is your fear of amazingness, right? It's your fear. It's my fear. It's humans' fear. Humans' fear of the new, of creating, of so much joy, of so much love. For multitudes of reasons. Oh my gosh, if I have that much joy, I'm going to lose it. Oh my gosh, if I have that much love in my life, I'm going to lose it. Or just these weird patterns of upper limits. How much joy we think one person can have. How much love, how much goodness, how much abundance we think we can have. So this is really pointing at blow up those upper limits, blow up those upper limits. Now that's going to last all week. Yes, I'm talking about just Monday, but that's lasting all week. This next piece is also lasting all week, and this is why I started with the collapse of relationships in the start of saying this is going to be a week for the collapse of relationships. Here's why. Saturn, foundations, your inner scaffolding. Your foundations and your inner scaffolding is in a grand trine with Juno, goddess of marriage, and Parvati, goddess of sacred union. Yeah, that's pretty intense. These are 2 goddesses holding your relationships. They're pointing straight at your relationships. Now, Saturn in a high 3rd stage level, divinely expressed Saturn, is like Shiva, can hold the fullness of feminine expression, could hold every single expression of life itself, every single expression of the goddess, every single expression of feminine Shakti, right? Could hold Juno, could hold Parvati, could hold Kali, could hold all of the mysteries held within life itself. The feminine is often represented as the form of life itself. And so at a 3rd stage Saturn, right? Now, the world doesn't really operate at a third stage Saturn. We're still demonizing the shit out of Saturn and saying that he's controlling, which is true, and that he's very limiting of life itself. And we kind of call him like the old patriarchy. That is a limited version of Saturn. It's an old version of Saturn. Now, there is a new expression of Saturn in this high third stage divine expression. So what this is kind of asking us for is, can we create a bigger state of consciousness, the masculine Saturn, a bigger state of consciousness that can hold bigger feminine energy, that can hold new relationship forms, that can hold the principles of the sacred marriage? That's Parvati. She holds all the wisdom of the tantrikas, all the wisdom of the tantric mysteries. That's Parvati. She holds sacred union. She holds the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the fullness in self. She holds what it is that opens when we embody and embrace that sacred union and we live from that place within ourselves. She holds those mysteries. So for that to be also dancing with Juno, Juno's long-term contracts, long-term commitments, long-term marriage. That's why she's called the goddess of marriage. She's the goddess of sacred marriages and vows. So here, let me break this down. I know I just gave you like the esoterical, mythical shit. Let me break this down into what this means in real life. The relationships that no longer serve are going to be really challenged this week. The ones that you should have ended during eclipse, it's still eclipse. You got another month. Get it done. For real, this is what this is pointing at. It's what it's pointing at because Saturn wants to make it manifest. He wants to bring it into reality, right? That relationship is over. Now, this isn't just partnerships. This isn't just intimate relationships. This isn't just like quote unquote marriages. It is long-term friendships. It is long-term working relationships. It is also things that you are in relationship to. For instance, the land you live on, you are having a relationship to that. The nature that surrounds you, you're having a relationship to that. Animals in your life, you're having a relationship to that. And this is really going to test, it's like the litmus test this whole week. So this is going to be all week, is this litmus test of, is this still bringing me joy? That's the question you want to ask yourself about everything in your life this week, especially relationships and long-term commitments, long-term contracts. Job, I would put job in here. If your job feels like it's a contract of some sort, I would put that in here. I would put sacred contracts. I would put soul contracts. I would put every kind of thing that you feel is a contract or a vow in your life. And I would go, is this still valid? Has this been karmically completed? Does this no longer serve? I would really do that up until that full moon, because we've got this big, beautiful full moon that's happening on October 6th, right? So we've got this week to really like culmination of things, and then get it cut off this week and up to that full moon. So really bringing some conscious awareness, really bringing some focus, and really being able to be radically honest. This is why I love that Kali's in the mix, because she gives us the courage to be radically honest. Like, this doesn't bring me joy. This relationship, this job contract, this thing, it's actually bringing me more hurt and more pain and more challenge, more hardship than it is bringing me joy. Joy is the question, right? Joy is really the question. Does this bring me joy? And just because it's challenging, though, doesn't mean that it's not joyful, right? Because growth and expansion is challenging. But there will be a thread of joy in it. Like, you're walking your path. You're on your true north, because there will be a thread of joy in it. Like facilitating that 6-day creation mystery school retreat here. That was so epically challenging for me. It was so expansive for me. It pushed me into territory that I've never held for before. I've never been able to bring something like that through in my life. But there was joy. As hard as it was, there was a thread of joy. And so so that's the litmus test for this entire week. I love that Monday just really sets us up. I'm going to go a little bit shorter through the rest of these days, but just know that those two big energies, Kali, up in the mix, fierce grace. I'm going to be radically honest with you. You are karmically done with this. Stop attaching to old safety, security things. She wants to liberate you. It's a freedom. She wants to free you for something greater, for your higher, bigger self in this new earth, new human, new world we're living in. right? And then this Saturn piece, foundations, rocking the foundations and really looking at relationships and long-term contracts. What are the ones that we haven't been able to physically let go of yet? So eclipses may be pointed to them. They've maybe gotten a little more irritating. There may be a little bit more up in our consciousness, but we haven't taken the action to end them or to shift them yet, or to walk toward them. This isn't just about endings. It's beginnings and endings happening simultaneously. Let me say that again. It's beginnings and endings happening simultaneously. So for some of us, the courageous action is actually taking a step into a new beginning, taking a deeper step into a new beginning. That's the scariest thing. That's the thing that we're walking toward a new contract. Juno, goddess of marriage. We are walking toward a new sacred union with whatever that is, be that animal, be that land, be that home, be that work in the world, a new sacred union. That's Parvati. Stunning. All right, let's move on. So Monday's a big relationship day. Tuesday, we get into feelings. This is a moony kind of a day. So the moon is making a bunch of aspects on Tuesday the 30th. The moon trines Venus, then the moon squares Mercury, then the moon opposes Jupiter. The moon brings about our emotional nature. Here's something we could do on Tuesday is really slow down, really feel into taking great care of your emotional nature, your sensitivities. Intuition can get really strong on Tuesday. So this could be, let me really tap into my intuitive nature. Maybe that's you take a walk in the woods. Maybe you get out in the moon at night. What is it that helps you? Maybe water helps you to tap into your intuitive nature. Get in the bath, slow it down. Maybe there are certain friends or podcasts or books or programs or things that help you to really reconnect into deeper intuitive places, because there's a lot of intuitive wisdom that can come through our more feminine side, our moon side. So you want to think like moon magic, right? You want to think like plugging in. You want to think beyond the 5 senses into, the other 36 senses that we maybe haven't switched on or aren't super conscious of. What is the world saying to me? How is the world talking to me? If I were to really listen to my inner voice, my wisdom voice, if I was to really hear gut feels, what would my path forward be? Really good thing to ask. And all those questions from Monday, what's ending, what's not bringing me joy, if we were to go into it on an intuitive state and an intuitive basis on Tuesday, that's really going to help. Think feminine practices, more movement, more emotion, more connected, less left brain logical, ration, reason. Get out of the head on Tuesday and drop into intuition, however that shows up for you. All right, Wednesday. Wednesday now, if we've gone from relationship focus and Kali focus of really releasing us from egoical tendencies on Monday, then we go into Tuesday, intuitive feels. Now we go into Wednesday. I love this. Wednesday is thinking big and getting strategic. Isn't this stunning? This is so good. Kind of got messed up, jostled around on Monday, got some intuitive hits on Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, we get to think big and we get to be very strategic. Here's why. Mercury squares Jupiter. Jupiter wants to blow up the box, wants to blow up the mind, wants to blow up what you think is possible. Jupiter blows up your upper limits and blows you into past glass ceilings. There's more for you. Think bigger. There are other ways of doing it. Don't let yourself be limited. Don't keep playing small. That's what's happening. And it's happening for the mind. And many of us are so stinking identified with our thoughts and our mind. We've been trained by the world to be like that. So it's beautiful that that's really getting expanded. Now here's the other part that I love. We've got Mars square Pallas Athena, the two warriors. The masculine warrior, Mars, and the feminine warrior, Pallas Athena. If I were to pick two warrior archetypes, one of the masculine, one of the feminine in astrology that would show up the loudest in our lives, it would be those two. Here's what Pallas Athena brings into the mix. She is a thinking strategist. She is a warrior. She is all about aiming true, She is all about aiming true. So this is stunning in the fact that not only are we thinking big and we're thinking outside of the box, we've got the juice from Mars, the passion from Mars, but Mars can be a little bit dumb sometimes. Mars can really come from like an egoical tendency. Like, I'm just going to go to war, you know, like the big brawny, you know, with no brains. That's kind of Mars on occasion. But the fact that Mars is square Pallas Athena is going to keep him. It's like she's giving him his marching orders to aim true. True north, aim true. Let's be smart about this. She brings the feminine wisdom, right? She's a feminine warrior goddess. She brings the feminine wisdom and she brings strategy. I love that. It's a feminine warrior connected to the mind, and the mind, Mercury, is getting expanded by Jupiter on Wednesday. This is really good. We're going to want to think about our lives forward. We're going to want to think strategy for what it is you're creating. We're going to want to put practices, plans in place. You know, what are some plans? Because the mind is plugged into really beautiful places on Wednesday. We're going to post like the intense window between the two eclipses where it was really hard to think. You know, so if you've had a tough time thinking the last couple of weeks and like strategy, I don't know what direction I'm going in, you are not alone. That was not the energy to be strategizing, but Wednesday is going to be the energy to start strategizing, putting plans into place. What is it that you're creating? What is it that's calling at your heartstrings? And then start to get real, get some action, Mars, action, Pallas Athena, action. The warriors are action oriented. So Wednesday is a day to strategize and to possibly even start to take some actions for the path forward. While aiming true, that's Pallas Athena, true north, you're aiming true, like your highest and best life, beyond those previous upper limits. Beyond ego attachments, Kali still ripping the ego to shreds. Like, stop playing small. You're so much more than this. Stop letting your false little belief systems create your reality. Enough is enough. Okay, so that's on Wednesday. So Wednesday was the think big strategy. I love Thursday. Thursday gets more into the body now. Thursday gets deep into the feminine, and Thursday goes, what are you birthing in this world? What is it you're birthing through your being? Every word you speak is an act of creation. Everything you write is an act of creation. Every conversation you have with someone is an act of creation. Every thought you have is an act of creation. I know, kind of crazy, right? But it's true. And what's happening on Thursday is that the sun is opposing Ceres, Great Mother, squaring Isis. All right. Isis, Egyptian goddess. Isis is high magic. Isis holds this thread between the unseen and the seen. She holds this thread between death and birth, life and death. She's the one who brought her husband back to life from the dead. All right? So she holds, so this portal between the unseen and the seen, between death and birth, is wide open. It's like the birth canal. And Ceres, being great mother, birth, create, fertile, creation, fertile, opposing the sun. The sun is conscious self. Sun is illuminating. So our conscious self is lining up with the great mothers, is lining up with this high feminine magic and really asking, what are you birthing in the world? What is it that you're really called to birth into the world? Are you called to birth a human baby into the world? Are you called to birth a book into the world? Are you called to birth a new home into the world? And the doorway in is through birthing. And we don't have to even be in a feminine body with womb and all the other organs required to birth physically something. What are you birthing? And really opening up your capacities to creating, to giving birth. There's a free masterclass I did called Birthing a New World. It's a 3-part workshop. It's free. It's totally free. If there's anything that you do this week, go do that. Go do that. Like, just support this feminine creative magic. It's going to help in this new human, new earth, new world that we're stepping into. It's going to help to also, this masterclass will help to bring clarity around what it is that you're called to birth, and switching on new capacities on how you can create now in 2025 that you couldn't do in 2024. It's different. It's different. The whole matrix is different. It's different. So that free masterclass, we'll put a link to that below or above, and just click on that, jump into that, and do that this week. Like, work through that this week. It's going to support in huge ways that I can't even possibly begin to express, because it's kind of like that feminine wisdom, feminine mystery, feminine magic. And if you've never tapped into it before, it's a great place to start. It's a great place to start. It's totally free. You have nothing to lose. All right, let's keep going. So that's Thursday. What are you birthing? Now, on Friday, here we go. This is an intense one. It's starting to get a little more intense here. Friday, it wants to clean up your limits and the ways that you're sabotaging yourself from stepping into the new. We have this long-term transit going on between Chiron and Eris. They're in Aries. Long-term transit, they're dancing together. They perfect their conjunction 3 times. I think they're still going to go for another year yet. It's a long-term transit. And what they're asking in Aries is, they're like, this is self. This is about self. Aries is self. It's pointing at you. It's pointing at me, my own personal self, your own personal self. And it's saying, who you thought you were is not who you are. Let's clean this up. Let's get you to identify with a new level of you, a new state of you, a new conscious beingness that you are. That's what they're really pointing at. And again, this is a long-term transit. It's part of these 2025, 2026, new human, this like rapid expansion of consciousness, all the collapse, all that shit. And it's one of the transits that's really supporting that. Now, Mercury, again, back to the mind. This is such a good strategic mental mind kind of a week where we get to translate. Mercury is messenger of the gods. It's really what he is. He's a psychopomp, guide to the soul, messenger of the gods. So what Mercury's wanting to do on Friday is he's wanting to deliver messages from this Chiron Eris transit happening in Aries. He's delivering messages, and the messages that they're trying to get through to us, what they're trying to help us as a rites of passage, as shamanic initiation, that's Chiron, right? As let me show you your deepest wounds. As Eris, truth warrior, I'm going to create chaos so you can see the truth. This is intense. Again, it's long term. We've been in this. We're going to stay in this. But the fact that Mercury is now opposing it is saying on Friday, he wants to deliver messages about where you're still blocking you stepping into the new you. Where you're still blocking, you're still playing the old school game. This is like fierce grace this week, it is a Kali-esque week, and she's still all up in the mix this whole week. Like, let's not forget that she is still dancing, squaring Sedna Uranus all week. So that radical revolution, liberation, it's like radical liberation from our egoical tendencies, our egoical selves, our playing it small, our old ways that we're clinging on to stuff. Sedna, clinging onto the side of the boat, that's her myth. Her conjunct Uranus squaring Kali. Who's got to cut your fingers off so that you let go into the new? What life event has to cut your fingers off so that you let go and fall into the new? That's what's going on. How many of these huge losses do we have to suffer so we let go? Or can you more consciously walk through this portal and let go yourself, make the choice to continue to let go? That's where we're going to find ease. That's where we're going to find joy. It can be a lot easier. We don't have to go kicking and screaming. So Friday's a really great day to reflect on, where am I going kicking and screaming? Where am I clinging on to stuff that's in the old that is no longer serving me? All right, so that's on Friday. So now we go into Saturday. Here we go. We're going back into relationships again. So I know it was flavored all week. I spoke about this on Monday. Now we're coming back into relationships. Here's Kali back in the mix, right? Now this time it is Uranus and Sedna are opposing Juno, goddess of sacred marriage. Goddess of marriage, goddess of commitment, goddess of long-term relationships, contracts, right? So now we have Uranus. Remember, Uranus will light up, illuminate. He's a Kundalini awakener. He will illuminate any energy that he's pointing at. He'll wake it up. So he's waking up Juno energy. He's lighting it up. I am going to wake up the goddess of marriage in you. Loud. But she's squaring Kali, right? Because this square is still happening. Uranus Sedna still squaring Kali, now squaring Juno. Remember, Juno was previously in that grand trine with Saturn. They were dancing in that grand trine with Saturn. Now Juno's taken the next hit. So now it's your sacred contracts, your relationships, your long-term commitments have been getting hit all week. All week they've been getting hit. Now it's getting radical revolution. That's Uranus. Uranus is asking with Sedna, I want a radical revolution. I want a full overhaul of a rewiring of all of your sacred contracts, of all of your relationships, all of them. I want you to look, that's really what they're saying. Post-eclipse. Remember, this is the post-eclipse shakeout. This is now asking us, it's this opportunity. We can totally say no. You can say, no, I am not ready for that. I am going to stay in this shit-ass relationship for a good long time because it's known. Or you can say, I'm going to shake these old family patterns in the way that I was comfortable in my relationship because it's what I knew when I was younger, to be abused by my parent figure, step-parent figure. And so I've recreated what's known to me, and what's known to me is comfortable. And actually, high voltage, what's really amazing and high love-filled and healthy and happy is unknown to me, and that's more scary than the known, which is actually a narcissistic relationship that I'm just repeating over and over and over. I don't know, I'm just throwing out random stuff here. And some of this might resonate of like, shoot, that's me, right? Shoot, that's me. Or I'm in a relationship, here's a good one, this one's gonna blast a lot of people. I'm in a relationship and I'm still playing out my inner little girl. I'm in a relationship actually with my father, who is also my husband or my lover. I'm in a relationship with someone who reminds me of my mother. How many of these old patterns are we just unconsciously repeating? What this is saying is there's a new way, there's a different way. You do not have to unconsciously, karmically repeat these patterns, but you're gonna have to take a step into the unknown, and that's gonna feel scary. But if you can align with joy and keep aligning with joy, 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 right? You can take small steps, small incremental steps to start to create a life that is filled with more joy than you ever thought you could possibly handle, and more fucking goodness and more abundance and more love and all the fucking things. Because that's how crazy powerful we are. And this is what we're starting to come into in 2025 and 2026, is we're starting to realize that we are these extraordinarily powerful creators. We are extraordinarily powerful co-creators with creation itself. We just didn't know we were that powerful. We didn't know that every thought and every word and every action is actually creating the reality. And now we're starting to see more, live more, act more from that place. All right, let's keep going. So that's on Saturday, that Kali, Juno, clean it up, clean it up, clean up these old contracts. And it doesn't just have to be intimate partnerships. Again, all of these contracts, anything that you think you're in a contract with or you feel like you're in a contract with, put it to the fire, that fire of truth. And if Kali's fire is going to burn it down, sometimes people refer to Kali as the ash burner, the ash burner. And if there's some of that that's just ready to be burnt to the ground, bless it, love it, be grateful for it, and let it burn. All right, so now Sunday, we're starting to get close to this full supermoon. It's a supermoon, so this is potent. This is going to be a powerful one. It's the first full moon after the final eclipse, right, which was obviously the new moon. It's going to be big, and this energy is going to carry into the full moon, which I'll do in the next video. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss this next video, where we'll dive deeper into this potent and powerful full supermoon. But here's the energetics that are building on Sunday before this Monday full moon. So this is Sunday the 5th. Sun, sextile Medusa. Dun, dun, dun. Sun, conscious self, in a beautiful harmonious aspect to Medusa. What is Medusa asking? Remove the masks. Where are you wearing masks? Where are you faking it? Where are you not being true to yourself in your life? Yeah, pretty good for a full super moon coming up the next day, right? So that's a really good question to ask yourself, and just dive into and be able to be radically honest with self. Because remember, Kali's still up in the mix, right? So it's really this fierce grace, and I want to liberate you from ego self. Now Medusa's coming at it from another Shakti, another sacred energy of let me liberate you from false self. She's also doing that by helping us to remove ways that we're like living performatively, ways that we're people pleasing, ways that we're appeasing things that do not feel true to us. Okay, so then on Sunday, here's the high voltage magic. This is the part that I really wanted us to get to. There is this ongoing dance between three very, very high, like it's like magician energy that's going on in the skies. And the fact that the three of them are together is really amplifying their high voltage magic. It's Merlin. Merlin, he is the magician of all magicians, holds alchemy. I will turn lead to gold. That's Merlin. Is conjunct Sekhmet. Sekhmet, Egyptian goddess, she also holds high voltage magic. Conjunct Hecate, that's Queen of the Crossroads. That holds all of the witchy magic. Those three are conjunct. They've been together for a while, dancing around. Now get this, their trine foundations, Saturn, Father Time, Lord of Karma. Remember I said foundations, he wants to make it manifest, he wants to bring it into reality. My sense is that these three magicians getting together are blasting Saturn into the new. Go back and listen to the beginning part where I talked about third stage high voltage Saturn. This new expression of Saturn, that's what these three are wanting to do. They are wanting to evolve the masculine in us. They are wanting to up-level the masculine in us. If you haven't done the new human series, right? Maybe you missed it during the eclipse special. There was the new feminine, there was the new masculine, and there was the new union. If you did jump into it, go do that workshop. If you did not jump into it for this week and this week only, we will put a link down below because we close the gosh darn thing on eclipse. We'll open it up. We'll leave it on eclipse special. It's normally $444. It was $197 during eclipse. We'll open it up and I'll put a link below. I'll also put a link in the email, that ReWilding weekly email. If you cannot find this thing, and I'm telling you, I'm only going to leave this open for a week up until October 5th. October 5th comes and I'm putting it down, right? And you're only going to get a checkout page. It's all I've got for this thing because I don't even have like a proper sales page for it because it was just put up on our eclipse specials. So all you're going to see, you click the link, you're going to see a checkout page for $197. It's the new feminine, the new masculine, and the new union. This is the greatest body of work that I've done to support us coming into the new. I am shocked that there are only like 100 and some people that have this in their ReWilding library. I would love to open it to you, and I will put that link below, but just know it's just a checkout page. But we've got you. It's the greatest thing you could do this week. Yes, go do Birthing a New World on the day that Ceres, the sun, and Isis are all dancing. It's going to open up feminine magic, but it doesn't touch the masculine magic, and it doesn't go into the union that's necessary of this new human, new earth, new creation. So that's something, if you want to go a little bit deeper, of course, you got to feel for you, right? This moving into new human, new creation, this is empowerment. It is extreme empowerment. It is extreme ownership of creating our lives. And so first and foremost, that is the thing that I support the most, and what ReWilding stands for is your empowerment, your truth, what serves for you. And so if any of these things serve for you, I'll see you there, whether that's new human, if that's the Birthing a New World free 3-part workshop, if that's ReWilding Weekly, if that's subscribing so that I see you next week for this huge super full moon that's coming up. I'll see you there. All right, my gosh, massive love to you. There's a saying that I sometimes say, but I haven't said it for a little while, so I'm going to end on this for us. Live more, love more. I do this practice every morning when the sun comes up. Live more, love more, live more, love more, live more, love more, live more, love more. And then I hold all of that juice that gets created, and I go truth to north, truth to north, truth to north, truth to north, truth to north. So I'm aiming as true as I can, and then create wildly and freely and beautifully these big, wonderful lives that we can step into and create from now. All right, huge love to you. Have an amazing, amazing week, and I'll see you when I see you, where I see you, and how I see you. Mwah.